And on the weekend, the V8 supercars were running again, which traditionally would have been a Clipsal 500 or an Adelaide 500 race. South Australian Labor used the weekend to call for its return. So at Flow, we've got pretty much an interest in this because the Bend Motorsport Park at Tailem Bend is not far away from our broadcast site at 97.7, and we certainly are really keen on V8s, and I know a lot of people across our broadcast areas at a wider level are interested in them. We reported on Flow News 24 that the opposition leader Peter Malinauskas has said that they had made an agreement with supercars to reinstate an Adelaide race should the Labor Party be elected next March 2022. It's important to note that SA Labor have not committed to get the first race of the season. We saw this year at Bathurst, the opener that was not the traditional Bathurst event, and that happens later in the year, but a specialised event at the home of motorsport in Australia. But SA does have a supercars race. The event at Tailem Bend in round 4 this year is not the street circuit people were familiar with in Adelaide, but a course event that has its detractors in Adelaide. But then again, the residents of the Adelaide parklands who are inconvenienced by the traffic changes around that time of the year, and the people that commute to work in Adelaide would be concerned, I think, about how much of an impact the supercars have. Albeit, I think people are prepared to overlook that if it's a major tourism event that gets people to the city, that brings people into the state, and so on. But if you're talking about this in this context, where's the best place to run a supercar event? Well, clearly on a track that's designed for motor racing is much easier. In terms of the safety circumstances and putting in place even things like the COVID-19 plans and so on, one has to suggest that having it at a motorsport park like the Bend, which has been purpose-built, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of infrastructure there to do this, then if there's one event in South Australia, then you'd say that the best location would be at the Bend. But at the same time, if there were to be two events in South Australia, or the street circuit one like the Clipsal 500 as it was known, or the Adelaide 500 V8 Supercars event as it's become known more recently, would be interesting to have. I think that money becomes the issue. According to the Liberals on this, they believe that the hosting of the event and the consequent situation to be able to put the infrastructure in place, that could be money saved, and that the event being staged on a purpose-built track may be a better operation. Well, we can only assume that if Labor is committed to having the race in Adelaide next year or the year after, or whenever it is that they are going to have it, if they were to get into government, that some level of government support would go into staging it, and we would need to see what sort of money the Labor government, if they were to win the election, would be willing to put up for taxpayers to contribute towards an event. And I think that gets down to, that's the thing, are taxpayers prepared to pay for it? It's not just a matter of somebody saying we want to host something, but are we prepared to pay for it through our taxes?